because I had this topic in my head, I want to say a week ago, roughly, before the video that's prompting the response. And it's a topic that comes up in my head actually a lot of times. This is also the kind of thing that I would talk extensively about, whether in the bizarre way or the historical way or a little of both. Boy, do I have a whole bunch of examples. Uh, but I'm just going to take the next roughly 2 minutes or so as just a quick update for things in general on the channel. So you can skip over this like 2 minutes, 3 minutes in, and then we'll get to the topic itself. So there's a whole lot of footage that I've been going through lately, and a whole bunch of it not only from Brick Fair, Virginia, but also stuff that's from the past couple of months, from over the past half year, even things from almost 2 years ago that I still need to get done. There's a lot of videos that I'd like to get out, and you know me, I have a lot of ideas of videos, so I can't really turn down a lot of them, and I feel like they're still, fun to share. So bear with me, because even though I have a lot of videos that are going up on an almost daily basis right now, at least for this past week, it does not mean it's going to always be that way. It's just kind of, I have a lot of videos, and to get them out as quickly as possible while still enjoying the process of them and still enjoying making the videos and everything like that, I can do one per day or every other day or something. There is no set schedule of when I upload videos. There used to be. It's revised so many times, and now I'm just whenever I can get to them and hopefully make them, when I feel right of getting them out. They're not all polished. I will say that. There's a whole bunch from Brick Fair, Virginia that I wanted to get out through August, but they were not polished, and I wanted to make those videos a little more special. There's an entire interview series that I wanted to get out, but that's going to have to wait a little bit longer while I decide if I want to try intros and outros. Some videos don't have those, they just go straight into the material. Um, there's videos where they might have captioning to them. I've considered that, or like certain parts of the video might have captioning just to make it easier because it's hard to hear it in the video, whatever the case may be. Um, I have a lot of videos. I've had a lot of videos on backlog, more videos on backlogs than I've had Lego on backlog. So bear with me. I'd love to get them out, and I've been meaning to get them out for a long time. So hopefully I will get that all moving. And again, I want to make sure that I enjoy the process of it. I don't want to rush through them and make them a bit sloppy or unfinished or whatever because of that. So hopefully there's a lot more videos for you to enjoy. And let's get on to today's topic. So, Brickstar had a video response kind of thing recently about Bricklink messages, and in the same video he also shared about the topic of Lego boxes. If he uses them, if he keeps them, if he collects them. Like, I know there are some times, I've been watching Brickstar for years, I've seen videos where he will get something with the box on purpose, or he may get the box to complete the set on purpose. There are some times where he just has the boxes of Lego sets and just repurposes them to other things. I remember long ago he did that with some of the Lego games boxes, and when he added more space into his Bricklink store, he would use those boxes to contain certain parts. Saves on the kind of storing methods that he's already used and still has plenty of those, but it also helps with larger items that don't fit in them. So there's some good purposes to that. And he basically asks about, like, what do you do with Lego boxes and what ways do you use them? And I guarantee everybody has a different answer. They have a different preference or no preference at all, and different ways of using them. And they're all valid. There's no wrong answer for it. But it is fascinating to talk about and compare between other Lego fans of just like, what can you do with them? What's possible out of them? And in this video, I want to share mine. Um, Basically, I'm all over the place about the applications of the boxes, if I collect them on purpose, if I keep ones around, if I use them for other things, all different kinds of things like that. Because there's so many different kinds of Lego boxes. There's not just a six-sided rectangular cardboard prison to put all their Lego pieces in. They've had so many different kinds over the years. They still have different kinds, even to this day, even this year, and even a couple months ago. Um, they've even had even wackier ones back in the 90s, of course, because Bizarre Lego. I mean, Bizarre Lego, full of stuff in the 90s and early thousands. But I guarantee there's stuff all throughout history. That's why the book has, it's segmenting decade wise. But I can't make up my mind on it because there's so many different kinds. And I think some of them can serve different purposes depending on what they are or what I have. So let's kind of run through many different categories of them and hopefully not take forever to do it, but I guarantee it'll probably take like a good 10 minutes or so, probably even 20 minutes because there's so many different things that I could talk about with them. And probably even more beyond this video, but I'll try to simplify it as much as possible. And I do encourage, if you're in the comments, to share your thoughts about them, even if they're ones that you don't own, or just, wow, I never knew they'd make it like that before, whatever the case may be. Let's start off with your standard Lego set box. This is 6-sided cardboard prison that I talked about before. Standard hole punching or tape on the side to open it. Nothing special about it. Tells you everything you need to know about the set on the front, and on the back it shows you some of the play features or figures up close. Nothing special there. Your rudimentary standard Lego box for a set. And this one in particular, I've actually built the set over this past week, but I'm not ready to use it yet. I mean, it was fun to build, don't get me wrong, and it's nice to get another set out of my backlog. And there's still plenty that are in there, whether or not they're in boxes, but I digress. But I don't know where I'm going to put this yet. I do have a Ninjago display, but it doesn't have any other ones in this theme. I don't have that many other sets from this theme, not many larger ones either. It wasn't one I really focused on. I just kind of liked one or two of them, and I went with it. It's not one that I'm ready to take apart and use for parts yet, so it's still staying together as a model. It's actually fully assembled and still fits inside the box, which is pretty neat. Not every Lego set can do that, but it is fun when they can. Or you just take a couple pieces apart and put them back in the box just to store them for a bit. So that's what it's basically being used for right now. Storage. I have the set, and I have it built. But that's about it. I will figure out a purpose sometime later, even if that purpose is to put it into the Ninjago collection of other sets that I have built, but taken apart because I didn't need them for that moment, or would like to condense the space, or whatever the case may be. There are plenty of Lego sets that I have in my collection that if I can't display them, if I don't have a use for them on video, if I don't have a play space for them, whatever the case may be, even if I'm not reviewing it, that's another case. I may keep this around a little bit longer just to review it and then take it apart. I actually get a Ziploc bag, any of the sandwich bags or, zip tie kind of bags or whatever's, which you can find literally anywhere, and put all the pieces in them. I usually keep the instructions separate from those bags because putting the instructions in the bag usually causes a problem where I have to get a larger bag, and the bag is like a gallon-size bag, but it's not a gallon-size worth of pieces, you know what I mean? So it's better to just put those instructions into a binder or a filing cabinet like I have in my room, and I can come back to it when I want to. And I've had that with several Lego sets where I actually go back into my collection, rebuild them again, one or two from a theme even, for a specific purpose. Whether or not I reviewed it before, if I want to do the video again, if I want to integrate it into something else, if I want to improve it, whatever the case may be. I've had a whole bunch of Lego sets like that over the years that I've done this kind of process with. And it is a really nice storage saving process because a bag built usually takes more space than the bag, or a set built takes more space than the set in a bag. That's why it's packaged like this. That's why it's so easy to put things like this together. And there's, maybe this not in particular, but plenty of other Lego sets, you can't fit them back into the box easily. Again, like I said before, taking them apart, whatever. I feel like I'd have to do another topic sometime later about non-bag sets, like Polybags or books with sets or anything else, because that feels like a tangent on its own. I'm just going to leave that alone for now. So, that's your standard box. And there are plenty of those standard boxes that I actually do keep for a purpose. A lot of the seasonal ones I'll keep around, even if they're still that rough, dimension to them. Even if it's not the same size, but it's not much more, unique as a box itself. I keep those around with the seasonal stuff so that when the season comes out, I will take them out of the boxes and build them again. Even if all the pieces are in a bag inside of the box. It just adds to the joy of bringing it out as, Halloween or holiday decorations. It's kind of like other decorations that I use throughout the house and in the yard sometimes. You know, that kind of experience with it translating into Lego. And some of them are really nice boxes too, like having a little ribbon detail on them or special artwork or something like that. There are even bigger standard Lego sets that I do that with, and depending on the theme, those actually work really well for me in a different purpose. Say that I take a really large Lego set from a theme, like the Monastery of Spinjitzu, for example, from Ninjago, sticking with the Ninjago theme for a bit. I can take that one set, break it down when I'm done with it, put it into a bag, and put that bag into that box. It will not take the same amount of volume as it originally did because all the pieces are going to be in one bag instead of multiple numbered bags. Yeah, it might be a little more difficult to build again, but I'm okay with that. I've done that many times, and I actually kind of find that more enjoyable sometimes. But with that extra volume now available in the box, I can take other Ninjago sets, and maybe I don't keep the box for this or whatever. I can take those sets, put them into the bigger box, and keep it as a storage unit. There are so many boxes that I have around that are just big, bulky things of cardboard. No labels, no distinguishing features whatsoever on the box itself. I moved a couple months ago, and I'm still organizing things from that move. Yes, I can still live here. Yes, I can still get what I need done. But for anything like the Lego room, the reason why I haven't done a video on it in quite some time is because it needs a lot of work. And not just the Studside Heights part of it, the town part of it. I mean, the entire room still needs better organization than when I last left off of. And in some cases, things fell apart and avalanched, and I need to fix those. And now I have a cat, so I have to make sure that there's enough room that if the cat just so happens to get into a room, then it's not going to be, a nightmare, a maze, or anything like that. So, that's what happens. Cats go everywhere. So, anyways, a big box with the set on it or the theme on it can really help me distinguish it from other boxes, and I know roughly what's inside of them. I have that in one of the storage sheds in my backyard. That's a Lego storage shed. I mean, it's not built out of Lego, it's just holding a lot of Lego. And there's several boxes in there that just have whatever is in the theme. So, like the Volcano Base set from Ultra Agents. I mean, not Ultra Agents. Agents. It's just Agents. Or Agents 2.0. The 2008, 2010 line. That set, I just happen to have the box with it. I didn't buy the set on eBay wanting to get the box with it, but it was a bonus. There are some times where I don't get the set because I want to collect the box too, or even after the fact. Sometimes it's just, okay, cool. I have the box with it too, and I can use that for other things, like I'm mentioning here. But there are also some that I do go back to the boxes for, but I digress for now. That box is rather large, and I can hold almost all of my agent sets that I've collected in there. And keep in mind, I have more than half of them in the theme. I think almost 3/4 of the sets in that theme all fit in there with breaking down the sets into bags. I think the only one I don't have broken down as much is Turbo Car Chase, which I know is one of BFAB's favorite sets. I didn't break that one down as much because the helicopter has a very difficult mechanism in it. Like, I remember building it multiple times and having trouble with actually fitting the pieces together. So I just keep the whole apparatus of that feature together and just put it in there. It's like, okay, it doesn't matter. It fits fine for the space. So I'll go with that. But now, at least if I need to find the agent sets, sometimes if I can fit other themes in them, I can, like Ultra Agents. I keep jumping back to by accident, or Alpha Team, or anything related to that. I could fit them in there if there's enough space for it, but if there isn't, I'll find another box and label it appropriately if I don't already have a set box for it. I've done that with the Saturn V. I picked it up because I was coming back from work one day. I found it in someone's garbage, but it was sitting on top. It wasn't even like buried deep in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen it. So I got it out of the top of the garbage that somebody had, just on top of a bin or something. It was clean, and it only had like the bags for the set inside of it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not looking for the whole set. I'm not interested in getting the Saturn V right now. But this is a really big space box that I could use for lots of different Lego space sets. I've done that with Mars Mission, where I have the whole box again just by chance, and I fit all the Mars Mission sets in there. But now I could do that with Saturn V, and yeah, it's not going to have the NAS sets in there, not even the Saturn V, but it'll have space-related sets. It'll still give me a clue as to what is in there and what is stored. Some people might even know from when I went to conventions like Philly Brickfest that I've picked up Lego set boxes there, and I use them for the same purpose. I don't own the Joker Manor from the Lego Batman movie, and maybe someday I'd like it, but for right now, not a concern of mine. Instead, I could just use the big hulking box of it to hold superhero sets. And I say superheroes in a very general term because it could be DC, Marvel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If there's another one that fits the bill, sure. Sometimes other smaller Lego themes or licensed themes all fit together in the same box, but again, if it's a cardboard box, I'll try to label it. I should have done that more when I was packing, but I didn't, and I gotta go back through some of them. And that's not just in Lego in general. I mean, like anything, any personal belongings that I have are in just boxes everywhere. I don't know what is in them. I haven't labeled all of them. But that's a great use that I have for them, where it's like, okay, it's a nice box. It's if it's a good enough size and I have a good enough stuff in the collection from that theme or relative theme to it, I can put them in there. Hidden Side is one of those themes that I keep the boxes around because I haven't thought of throwing them out yet, but I also really love that theme, so I do keep those boxes around. But how am I supposed to do that and keep the sets intact or even consolidate them? Well, this is something that I'm still working on, and only recently started doing this, and that's actually tearing down the boxes. So, taking a box like this, cutting out all of the borders of it, all the adhesives on the sides of it, and flattening them, so that way I can still have the box, and if I want to pose it up for something later, or use it for a video, or something like that, I can do that. I can just unfold it, tape it around wherever I need to, and boom, it's a box again. And there are some that I would think of going back to like that. But again, it's still a fairly new process, so I haven't done a lot with it so far. We're already 17 minutes in. I guarantee this is going to be a long one. All right. Let me move on from there, because there are some historical boxes and bizarre boxes that I think are going to be even more fun to talk about than just your run-of-the-mill six-sider. I don't know why I just called it a six-sider. It's not a dice. Although, this is cube enough. I got top, flat side, the top of it. It's a dumb joke. I will say that there are some boxes for certain sets that I do keep around, and I'll still keep them at least for now, with seals and whatever. Like not like sealed, but I mean like I'm not gonna flatten them yet. Mostly things from like the ideas or the well, I don't have many modulars except for like Ninjago City and Ninjago City Docks. The 18 plus sets is another one. Any of those kinds of specialty boxes, again, they have more, pronounced nature to them. They have something else that's going for them. But hey, if a box is big enough and I want to keep it intact, I could also shove the other flattened boxes inside of it, and problem solved. Whether or not the Lego sets are going to be in them or they'll be in some other box. There are plenty of boxes I have in the same theme that I can go either way with, Give me a moment. I'm just going to have some root beer. And drink the cap. I forgot to open it. Courtesy of BFAB. He didn't buy it for me, but he did recommend it, and it's good. I mentioned it on a video earlier this week. And do need to acknowledge that it is in fact root beer, and it's not some other drink. Because of the nature of the bottle. Now let's talk about the weird stuff. And the historical stuff. There are some historical boxes, vintage ones, that I sometimes go back to or sometimes pick up that I actually do want to keep around for a bit longer. I can't remember the last time that now I can. I do remember the last time that I bought a box or I bought a set on purpose with the box. Like, I want to buy this set again that I used to have, don't have with all the pieces, but I do want to get it with the box. One of the Lego Diver sets, I forget the exact number of it, but it was a small set, which I need to review at some point, by the way. It was a small set that had it had two minifigures. It had one that drives a truck and one that sits in the back, and basically Uses like a little trailer and gets a boat out into the water. So it's a really small set from the Lego Town Divers theme from the 90s. And I love the look of the box of it. It's something that just stuck with me. The artwork is really cool. So I got it with the box. And hey, Doc Samson, how's it going? I did see your video just went up, and I'll have to watch that at some point. Then there's ones like this. I didn't really seek these, but it was nice to get them. Actually, two of these I got from my good friend Sega, who we've seen several times before on the channel, because he found them at a Goodwill. And they had a whole bunch of pieces in them, but not enough to complete the sets. But the boxes were in okay shape. They still got some taping around just to keep them intact. But it was still neat to see what a vintage Lego set looks like, even if I don't have the set itself. I've built vintage Lego sets several times with my buddies at Bucks County Brick Shop back when I was in Warminster. Since I had to make a day trip up there, and I built some of those. But it's nice having the boxes so that I could use those. Oh yeah, this whole video is all over the place about about some I actually collect. Some of these, I don't know if I'm going to get the whole sets. I don't even know if I'll keep the boxes for value sake, like if I sell them down the way, or even now if they're going to be more worthwhile or anything like that. But I do want to keep them around for other purposes, like for videos, or I have a thing coming up for Brick Fair, New Jersey, that's going to have some very special use of boxes. They kind of help with the table displays. I'm trying to think if there's an old Lego set that I would still go back and get the box. I mean, it's not too old, but the 2009 set from Pirates, Soldier's Forge, 6242, that I'd like to get the box. I did actually see the set sealed at Brick Fair, Virginia, and it was a lot of money because it was sealed. I do not care for getting it sealed. Maybe sometime later it'll be cool. I know some people, their favorite Lego set of all time, they'll get a sealed copy of it and they'll try to complete it as much as possible. I'm not worried about the sealed nature. I at least still have my original set with minimal damage, and I'd just like to get an open box for it. That would be okay with me. Well, I don't know if Doc actually left, but it now says 0 views again. I don't know. Then there's this vintage set. I think I brought this up before. I remember I did a backlog video a long time ago. Hey, Zinni. And so I don't know. Maybe YouTube is messing something up here where it doesn't say anyone's watching. I had no idea. I'm just going to keep talking as if they are. But I do see people here. Good to have you. This one I mentioned a long time ago and still sits in my backlog. I have not built this thing or any of the models in it up to this point. But I'm still happy to have it because it's a vintage Lego set. This one at least does have the pieces with it, and it was a fairly inexpensive set. So I could build things like a giant duck, a guy on a cowboy on a horse, I guess a rabbit on wheels. There's some interesting parts in here to go through at some point later, and I still have to check if it's even entirely complete. But it's still, I've looked through most of it, and it's like, okay, pretty sizable. I believe this one is also from that decade. Yes, okay. So it is from that decade or so that they had these little trays for the pieces. And some Lego boxes, yeah, in value, may change because of having some form of cardboard tray inside of it, a plastic tray, or the ones I loved, the flip-up boxes, which I would love if they did that again. And toys in general don't do that as much anymore. But some of those boxes are fun to collect. And sometimes if it's not a bad price or if it doesn't really increase the price that much, sure, I'm fine with that. I even have another one over here where, oh boy, we're going to have an avalanche, aren't we? I even have another one over here where the set is mostly complete, only a couple pieces missing. I remembered that I got this a little while after seeing it at one of the Philly Brick Fests, and at that one, it was an auction item, and that went up for quite a bit. 001 Gears. Is it the first Lego set ever? No. Is it the first numbered Lego set ever? No. Not that I know of. As far as I know, I don't know. But it is still cool having one that is a 001. Just having the number associated with it. Kind of like 6666 or 66666 or 666. You get the idea. I do have 2 out of 3 of those. I don't have the one with the 3 digits, though. But anyways, this is a cool box on its own, and it's once again got some trays to it. Bionicle Forever, how's it going? As I said, it is incomplete. Still has a few pieces I need to put back together for it. But this is cool on its own that it still has this plastic tray piece to hold everything and almost display with it. So there's a clip. There's a clip. I've been dropping clues about what I'm doing for Brick Fair in New Jersey so much this past week that you probably already know what exactly is going on. But then let's get weird. Let's have fun and get weird. I'm gonna start off with something a little more tame. Lego games. It's still kind of a weird box. It's not your traditional Lego set box because this is made in a way that's opening up, you know, top to it. This is the kind of thing I was talking about in the beginning of the video when I said, oh, Brickstars repurpose these by holding them over like this and use them as a tray or holding pieces in them. Isn't this going? Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's unfortunately going to be the last New Jersey show, so I want to try to make it good, and I'm going to bring some extra stuff with it to make it more worthwhile. I have permission to do so as well. But this is kind of an interesting box because it plays like a board game box, like the kind of thing that, okay, it's just top and bottom that all the pieces fit inside of, so you can always go back to the game itself. I mean, look on the shelf behind me, and there's another shelf over there. The Lego Library video, check that out. It's right on top of there. They're made like that too. Puzzle boxes, board game boxes, because that's the intent of these. They just have a Lego look to them, or you actually build the thing. So why am I not? Why wouldn't I keep those boxes? Because that's how they're kind of meant to be stored. I don't remember the last time that I had a board game that I put all the pieces and board or cards into a bag and kept it like that. I mean, sure, I've had a couple of board games from my childhood that fell apart completely. I used to have an old Scrabble one where all the ends were broken off and it was like two slabs of cardboard holding the whole thing together. So I was like, okay, we gotta put it in the back at some point. But if it's in fair enough condition, I'll keep the box around and know what's in there. I'm trying to look around here. Oh, the Design by Me box up there. Just want to point that out for half a second. Weird box. Weird program from Lego. No longer a thing. And I keep the box around just because at least know that it existed. Other Lego themes, you can definitely find the boxes or find them in box. No problem. Design by Me is very unique. There are some that you cannot find elsewhere because they're one-of-a-kind boxes. I don't know anybody else who owns Epic Chess because the person who designed it bought it. Maybe there's another one floating out there. Maybe they bought it as a gift for someone, whatever the case may be. It's the kind of thing that they made specifically, customized it specifically for a given set. And I did a full video about this one in particular. I have a couple other ones I'd love to do some videos on. I got them over a year ago. And it even goes down to how it opens, the instructions. I'm glad that I have the paperwork in here about the order for the set. Because I didn't think that was going to be a possibility. I didn't know what that paperwork was like. I never was part of the Design by Me program myself, though I was curious about it. I usually hit the send to lego.com button on the Lego Digital Designer by accident and then just X out of it. So it's like, oh no, I can't order this. I'm not allowed to. I didn't mean to press it. I pressed the button next to it or whatever. So I have a couple of Design by Me sets like that basically exist only one of one or next to one of one because they're independently made. They're specifically designed for each person. Now I gotta talk about, okay, this isn't one of one. The Lego Movie Brickheads. There's only 5,000 of each of those brickheads out there. Of course I'm going to keep the boxes with them. And then brickheads in general, I keep the boxes because they fit nicely back in them. It's kind of like the Funko Pops. Like, even more so. Because it's like, okay, I can actually fit the assembled model back in there. It's kind of like what I said earlier about this guy. But at least those, it actually works well, putting them on the shelf or something. Yeah, you won't have the actual screen in front of it to display it. But if I need them for something, I know where they are. They all fit packed, together. Most of them are roughly the same size, except for the 2-packs or the 1.5s, or I guess the Ninjago one that's 3. Yeah, a couple variants. I don't know. But this is what I'm saying. There's so many different Lego boxes that you could make a case about it for anyone's use. I'm going to talk about something more recent. Yeah, we're going back to Ninjago. I went through a lot of Ninjago recently, and there's so many different kinds. Like this Versus box, one of 4, for Legacy. They basically made this as a unique box just for the marketing. It's a very basic set, but they've done sets like this for many years in Ninjago, and they always change the box around so it looks more appealing on the shelf. So you can actually say, ooh, it's got a 3D look to it. Ooh, it's got these, cut out edges. It's kind of like the Mario starter set boxes that have a weird angle to them. And yes, I still have this. What I also like about them is that they include a little extra stuff to it. Like, they didn't have to put anything in this center slash of it, but they did. And what they put in there, it references the older Ninjago stuff, like in the original Spinjitzu card game, and you have all the little stats for things. I enjoyed those back in the day when I was, 16 years old when it started. So it was fun seeing that on here. And kind of with the artwork, kind of lines up with it. Kind of wish it was its own cards in here, but I digress. But still, interesting kind of box. And Ninjago's done that for many of them. Like I said before, the Spinjitzu Slams. They've had really tiny boxes for them. They've had these amorphic boxes to them. They've even had Bionicle Generation 2 with these, types of boxes. Bionicle's done so many different kinds. I don't even want to share all of them on video for now, but maybe sometime later. For right now, I do actually keep Bionicle boxes around because they're canisters. Yes, they have cardboard boxes for some of the sets. I go here or there with them. I don't necessarily collect them, but if they're here, I might as well keep it for a little while, and if I decide to throw them out, I will. I have thrown out Lego boxes for Bionicle before, obviously without the pieces, but yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't give any kind of trigger warning that we're using the B word, but hey, I'm here, I enjoy this, and it's not going to last long. Canisters, they're cool. I know, how dare I. Box protectors existed, but there's too many different kinds. Exactly. Pretty much have to fit each, custom make them each time. But some of them actually do work in universe. Some of them actually have a purpose of the canisters existing. Some of them actually can do different functions with them. And some of them actually are kind of exclusive. I mean, I'll pay for shipping, sure, Ben. Welcome to the stream. I guarantee there was a period of time. Every once in a while, I would make posts about either collecting the Lego boxes or just cardboard boxes for storage or whatever. That I just nicknamed myself Maniac 4 Boxes. That was a thing for a while, and honestly, in this video, probably an alternate title. There's even some of the Bionicle boxes that are transparent, and you could take the sticker off the back of them and make them a display case. Cool. Not a bad idea. So it's like you're storing it, but you're also displaying it. And yeah, there are plenty of them where you do have to take apart something on the set in order to fit them back in there, but it ranges. Then there's the 2007 ones where they were just a big plastic frame, 2 slabs of paper on either side, and some tape holding them all together with the pieces in the middle. And there's no way that when you open those, you can fit them back in as a box, because you have to rip the thing apart. It's kind of despicable. But I was lucky a couple years ago that I saw one of them in the stores. I mean, it was still sealed because there was no in-between. And it was just cool seeing that again. And that was one I actually sent off to a friend of mine who was looking for that figure. So that was cool. You got the blister packs. Yeah, that's true. Let's move on from there. I'm going to go a little bit back in time for a bit. Can I get back in time? I just saw Back to the Future again the other day, yesterday. Now we're talking weird. 90s. Gotta love it. I mean, I don't just love it because I grew up in 95 onward, but man, it was a weird time for Lego, and this is my bread and butter. Among every era of Lego. These are just fun. But yeah, I do agree that some of them can have unnecessary space, and they can be useful for sale. that may be a backdoor reason as to why I keep some of them, like the holiday or seasonal boxes, where it's like, okay, maybe good having them all together. Um, but yeah, 4 minifigures are going to take up less space out of a Bricktober pack than in a Bricktober pack, but people would look for them with the box itself, so it goes all over the place. So like I said, there's no wrong answers for this. Even that sometimes shipping with the box is more expensive, that is very true. And I think there have been some times where I actually got the boxes flattened while shipping them. Like, not me sending them out like that, but I mean receiving them. I was like, okay. I think I have one from the other day, the Chromebook, the Lego Snap Haul. That was luckily the same or rough size as the Snap box when shipping it. But I'm sure it wasn't easy finding a container like that. Alright, let's talk about this boy. So, many times, Lego had some add-on or gimmick to their Lego sets. This is a standard set. You could find this in its own cardboard rectangular box, no problemo. But sometimes they'll put a bundle with it, where, oh, you can get a free Invader mask, and club membership, see back panel. Yes. And there's actually a kid on here actually using the mask. I have actually tried to wear this thing myself, and the no, not Explorians. Insectoids. I have the mask for that. Oh, that's over here actually. I've tried wearing those. They are kid-sized masks. They're not going to fit an adult, unless you happen to fit them. But this is a weird box on its own. They have this triangular base to it. That's where all the pieces are. This is intentionally able to bend back and forth. Okay, watch. Come on. There we go. But the box is made to fit the mask on it. It's not like the other one that I'll take a look at. It's a lot more beat up, however. Where it's a standard box that they work the mask around, like the mask works into it instead of around it. This one, pretty standard cardboard box. It's had some rough life, but most of it's there. I think there's a little bit missing here and there from it. And the set inside of here, it's not in a separate box, at least that I know of. I just have it where there's a plastic shell that goes around the Insectoids mask, and then the set is underneath it. I don't know if it had a separate box in there. There were some Lego sets in the thousands, like the Hogwarts Express, where they had them in separate boxes inside of a big box. Sometimes in little bags inside of a big box. It's all over the place. That's what I'm saying. This is what's kind of fun for me. It's like there are so many ways that Lego has done this stuff. There's so many different ways that they've explored this, pretty much any topic. That as a guy who enjoys Lego history and all the weird stuff that goes with it, I'm into it. Now this plastic piece is not actually fused to the box. You can see it shifts around pretty easily, and also because the box is in worse shape. But yeah, so all different kinds of things. But then there's ones that I don't know. Like here's one that I have where I'm like, okay, maybe it's worth the value with the box. I've used the Benny retractable pen in here for a review. It still has the oxygen tanks on the top of it, just as it was in the original packaging. I literally bought it in the store, went home, reviewed it, put it back in the box. Barely used it any time after that. I don't know if the pen ink is even working anymore. But if I wanted to sell this someday, I'm going to get a little more out of it with the box in some very damaged condition than just the figure on its own. But it was also fun to share the box in the review. Or, I don't even have them in here, but the Play and Collect series of Lego sets. Basically, they had a Lego game and sometimes a set packaged with a other collectible figure or something. They'd done this with a couple of Funko Pops. They didn't make them exclusively for Lego, but they were available through Lego because of this. So I've reviewed one or two of them on the channel before. There was a Batman pack that had a Joker bobblehead with a glow-in-the-dark face. There was, I think I still have it. The Yoda. There's a Yoda plush with a Star Wars game. There's, I think I still have this one too. the Minotaur game, like the Lego board game, that came with one of the Ninjago sets, or I think that or something separate, something like that. Maybe Ninjago Battles went with it or something like that. This, they're all over the place. That's what I'm trying to say here. There's even modern ones that I'm still questioning why, how. I'm sure other people had these thoughts earlier last year when they started doing these yellow boxes, these yellow GWP kind of boxes. I don't know. And it's also weird that these were pretty much in the same period of time, but different backgrounds to them. Like you could have had this one with a white background, you'd still see everything fine. You could have had this one with the wood grain table. Yeah, I don't know why they chose different things for that. And one of them looks more like a digital render. They both kind of do. I don't know. None of them were more like actual photo. But they're weird boxes on their own because it's you open this up from the top, and this whole front piece is not printed on the box. It's a frame for the instruction manual, and there's a little piece of cardboard that sits behind it just to keep it in place, where all the pieces can be. So why? And yeah, I've actually built both of these. I'll have a video for them sometime later because I thought it'd be fun to talk about both of them on review instead of just one. They're similar but different, as I said. Why did they do that? And they've done that with a couple of them. They did that with the Coliseum gift with purchase. They did that recently, I think the past month or so, with some kind of like swinging ride thing in the U.S. I think there's a carousel like that. There's a couple that they've done just this past year for whatever reason. So that's what I'm saying. There's so many different Lego boxes. They have so many different values and so many different purposes. I guarantee most of these I could probably toss them and I would have a lot more space. But I do keep some of them around because I like the Lego history behind some of them and the wacky nature that some of these things are presented. I like some of them because they help with my storing methods. That I can put a whole bunch of Ninjago sets in one box and know that it's a Ninjago box. It's a full of my collection or most of my collection. I think Ninjago is a bad example. I'd probably use either a bigger box or multiple boxes for that. But like I said earlier, for Agents and Mars Mission and things like that, it helps with my sorting method. Loose pieces, I don't really put them into the boxes. I would put them into drawers, Tupperwares, something that would actually keep in house to build with. Unless there's just oodles of spare parts, I'm like, okay, I can't sort these right now, and I'll have to move them into the shed. I have a Galador box because again, I just got the set with it. I'm okay if I didn't get the box with it, but I have it. It's not here right now. It's in the shed, and it still has all the cardboard innards to it, like to hold it in place. Mainly just because I didn't do a review of it yet. Do you own any sealed sets just to keep sealed? This is a good question. Let's see. Not many. I can think of one or two that I've had sealed, but I wasn't sure about keeping it sealed. I've had some before that I wanted to keep sealed, but at some point had to break them out for extra pieces or just selling the figures or something else. It's like, okay, I can't keep this long-term investment kind of thing because I need it for other purposes. So there it goes. I know that there's one that Brickstar sent me, I want to say in the past year, maybe almost 2 years ago, that it was like a baseball promotion set. I forget which team it was because I'm not a sports ball guy, but it's an interesting buildable figure. They did a couple of these for different stadiums and different teams, and I have that one sealed mostly because I'm not sure if I should keep it sealed. I'm like, it could be good as is. I'm not ready to open it if I do need to open it. It's the kind of thing that he sent along with a couple other items that are for the intent of Bizarre Lego. Fair enough. But I don't know if it's going to do me more of having it opened, too? I don't know. And with the way the Bizarre Lego has been developing, it's not something I have to worry about right now to, go into that particular set or anything. So it's staying sealed just for now. What else is there? I'm gonna mispronounce this, but Melink 101. Welcome to the stream. I'm trying to think of other ones that I'll keep sealed for sealed's sake. I've had gift with purchases that I get like multiples of, and it's like I don't need to build both of these. I don't have a reason to, um, you know, to use them. I've bought a hidden side set or two before that I've kept sealed for a while until after hidden side got discontinued, and then I flipped it. Um, a bunch of things like that happened actually, where I've had duplicates of them, or I got them cheaper than buying two of the full copy, and still had it sealed, and I just flipped the other one or something. Um, Trying to think of what else. Brett's Builds, welcome to the stream. Debating if I should get the Jackstone Airport sealed for 25. So that's one where it's like, that would be kind of fun. It would be fun to experience it, and it's not that expensive. I have actually seen a bunch of the Jackstone sets float around that are sealed-ish for low price. I haven't bought any of them, but I have thought about a few of them. Jackstone toothbrushes, however, now we're talking. Basically, those, I have no purpose for them, and other than just to collect them. Like, I'm not going to use it as an actual toothbrush. And even if I did, I have one already. I have one of the Jackstone toothbrushes back in the day, but it's worn. No, don't. I don't think I want to put that back in my mouth, even if I was the one using it. But that would be a fun one to have for showman's sake, for having it like a table, or just to say, hey, this was something. There's a page that I follow on Instagram about Bionicle collecting, and they have a whole bunch of sealed stuff, which I guarantee they have no need to use, but it's still good to see in the package. And high-res photos of them nonetheless, because there's not a lot of photos out there. And even if they are, there are not a lot of high-res photos out there. So sometimes it actually serves a really good purpose, where it's like, okay, you can actually back this up, put them into a database or something else, to see them much more clearly than before. I don't have the highest quality of content, I have the highest quality of video or whatever, but I appreciate those who do take that time and effort into it. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yesterday was a lot to handle. Saturdays are usually not my best day of the week, honestly, but this Saturday was a lot more than usual, and I'm getting better from it now. Thank you very much for asking. Someone in my area has two. Nice. Surprised Bionicle didn't have masks like that. Au contraire. I have seen listings on eBay, not searching for them intentionally, but searching for something else. There have been listings of Bionicle bundles where they would have a mask, a set, and sometimes a foam like weapon, all in one big box, one humongous box. I think there's like a few other Bionicle things that I have in standard boxes that I just haven't opened up yet. There's one that I'd love to do sometime soon, which I've never seen a review for, and I'm like, well, I already have it, and it's in good shape. Might as well put it on video. I do regret that several years ago I did a video about a whole bunch of Lego water guns, and unfortunately, some of them were brand new in their case, but the way that I edited the video, it only showed half of the screen. So you only saw half of the sealed box. Of course, I was going to open it, yes, but I don't know how much photography there is out there. I don't know how much people could see it elsewhere, other reviews or whatever. So, unfortunately, unless I find the old footage before I edit it again, which is not likely, I can't really share what the whole thing looked like. But the published video now has it with a split in there because I had two of me on screen at the time talking back and forth about that stuff. Sorry. There's also Lego buckets. There's a whole nother argument I feel like I could go into. There's Polybags, which again I feel like is worth another video. There's even, I guess the closest thing this would go to is Polybags, but there are like those really tiny Lego sets that they'll do in like a monthly mini build, or they had that Millennium Falcon in Target. It's not even a real bag, or it's like a really skimpy sandwich bag kind of thing, where it's like, okay, they just have the bag wrapping around and the little tab that folds over it and tape on the other side, paper instructions, pieces in there, that's it. You guys remember that one, right? A couple of years back, there was a Millennium Falcon mini model that was available at Target. Not expensive or anything, but it was so weird of a skimpy bag. I still have mine, and it's not taking more space than the pieces. It works as a bag, but I don't know why they packaged it like that. What thought process was there? But they've had a couple other ones kind of like that, but they're usually for Lego store promotions. They're for like in-store events or the Legoland Discovery Center or the theme parks or something like that. That makes more sense there. This was in a retail store. This was something that they regularly had, and they shipped nationally. Why? I don't know. There's also things like the Toys R Us store make and takes, where it's a Ziploc bag or one of those kinds of bags again. Um, I don't think those have any particular value as a packaging, but if you know and you do have it, I guess it's cool. Um, I'm actually surprised if some of the Polybags I still have around from the early 2000s. Like, I didn't intentionally keep them. I just happen to have them. And I was like, finding them a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, okay. For example, I have, even though I already opened it, I still have the bag, the poly bag, the McDonald's Happy Meal toy bag for yens from Galador. Pieces are still in there. Still got the instructions. I've built the thing, of course, a couple times and mixed and matched the pieces and whatever. But the bag is still here. Why? A lot of it really is down to the collecting aspect, isn't it? And a couple applications beyond it. But again, everybody has their way, everybody has their purpose for it. So there's nothing wrong with hearing how other people use it. And if it works for them, no harm, no foul. I do have some Lego boxes that have been falling apart over the years. I've been toying around with these Tulo pieces from a Lego set box that I got in already bad shape already. And then while moving, it just started falling more apart on itself. So I can only do so much to preserve it at this point. Oh, here's another sealed set that I wanted to keep sealed for a while. So, I mentioned a couple months back that I was gonna, I did some video with the Lego Duplo Super Truck, the Brickbuster Super Truck, the recall. I got the sealed set that came with it, and I thought, okay, this is cool. This is not a regular common item, and it didn't cost me too much to find it. It even had some history on the box itself that I thought was interesting. Even a little bit more interesting than just having it in pristine condition. I've opened it. I actually meant to keep that one sealed and get all the pieces because they're very common pieces, but unfortunately could not find all of them, and one or two colors are a little harder to find, or I don't have my original Duplo collection anymore, or very few pieces from it, because I used that in donation for an Eagle Scout project I made back in 2013, actually 2012. So most of those pieces were gone. So I could not recoup from those. I'd have to find them through other Duplo lots that I've found since then, and some common, some not. The minifigure for the truck was something I had to buy off of Bricklink, but for only like $1 or something, so it wasn't that expensive, even though it was uncommon. It wasn't desirable. There you go. That's why it was cheap. So why did I open the set? Morbid curiosity. I basically am going to have a video where I go through everything you need to know about the Duplo Super Truck, even if it spoils what's going to be in Bizarre Lego 2nd edition or whatever. But it's still something that I feel, if I've already talked with it a bunch on the channel already, I've featured it on other people's channels and live streams, I might as well do a video discussing the whole thing, and it could be really cool. And I opened the box in order to show what this thing was like. If I already have a sealed copy of it, what was it like originally when you had all the, when you had this thing opened up and playing with it? Well, spoiler alert, It was only pieces. There was no paper manual inside. There was no catalog. There was no instructions. Nothing else. It was just a box, pieces. Yeah. I've watched people that open sealed old Lego sets, and sometimes I think that's not my jam, or it doesn't really add much value, or it doesn't really share much more for the review. Sometimes they're nice, and sometimes it depends on even if it's a set that I like. So, this is one of those cases where I got burned. And you're gonna see that pretty soon on the channel. Yeah, it's kind of a shame, but at least now I know, because I would not have remembered that from owning the set myself back in the day. And I guarantee I would not have found a second copy soon of everything in its, stars aligned condition, to get to relive that or anything. So yeah, I guarantee there are other sealed copies of it out there somewhere, but this one had to be opened for science, for the community, for whatever. I think we're gonna wrap things up. I'm just gonna check up on the chat for a minute. Glad they're doing good. Is at a lug meeting. Vakama one. So yeah, Vakama had a polybag. I don't know why. Him particularly in Bionicle had a polybag at one point. No one else. And there's also ones like the Kabaya Suites where it's like, okay, it's interesting that they had a different production for them. I'm not looking for those boxes particularly. At least for now, I don't care for them. I am a sucker, as I said earlier, I am a sucker for big box sets. Or even some of the smaller ones sometimes. I am a sucker for the sets that have an open flap and you get to see more pictures inside of it. I grew up with a couple of those. I remember looking at them through Toys R Us, seeing like the Black Sea Barracuda or whatever, the original one, on the bottom shelf, Legends Edition, in Toys R Us, flipping that thing open, and wow, you get to see the whole pirate ship and all the figures and everything, moving it around. So much photography for that. That didn't have to be there, but they did it anyways. It's just the extra effort that is highly appreciated. There's even the older Lego themes in the 90s and early 2000s where they had their own stories to them. And sometimes they add a little blurb about the story inside of those kinds of flip-up panels, or a little text box in the back of the box. They're cool. Admittedly, if I actually tried hard enough a couple of Philly Brick Fests ago, I probably would have had a lot more Lego set boxes, even if I didn't own the sets. But that didn't happen. Who knows it'll happen this time around. And again, there's still stuff I need to work on flattening. So if I do want to keep them for whatever purpose, I can. Here's another one. I just remembered this because it's in storage. I found it recently, but I didn't think, until now. I should mention it on the video. 2011 Spinjitzu Spinners, 2011, 2012. I still have the cardboard backing of the box. I don't have the plastic piece anymore. Luckily, I got rid of that. But I still have the cardboard backing of the box because, again, interesting photography, just a different style of the packaging for the set. And I basically kept them back in the day because of the ninjutsu, or the Spinjitzu spinner game that they had on the phone, or, iPod or whatever. You had to scan the barcode in order to unlock things in the game. And it is kind of weird that you couldn't just go to the store and do all that. But this was 2011, 2012, Joey. And I did not have cellular data. I don't think many iPods at the time would have had mobile data enabled on their phones unless they were from the Brits. So that wasn't going to happen for me. That was like, okay, I have to buy the set to take the thing home, use my Wi-Fi, and then scan in order to use the thing in the game. I don't know if that was the intent at the time, but that's how it can work. Imagine if I had a time machine and I could take my phone with me now, like my current smartphone, and go back in time and I could scan all those and just get everything from the sets. Oh yeah, that's what I'd use the time machine for, obviously. I wouldn't go back for any other reason. No, funny. I would love to go to Billund one day for the inside tour and get to see the vault, the memory lane. Because seeing all those sets in their Lego set boxes would be fascinating. But there were a couple of Lego sets I would love to see out of preference, like things I grew up with, like many people who go on those tours. but I'd also go out hunting. I would try to find the most obscure stuff, the weird packaging. If they actually have one of every Lego set produced in a box, I want to find the weird bundles of 3 sets in one. I want to find the ones with the giant Duplo figures holding all the pieces in it. I want to find that kind of stuff and really make the trip memorable. The kinds of things that I probably could find out in the wild, but not as likely, and would just be a fun way to search through that whole library. Although I would have to look 1 year at a time, so I'd have to take quite a bit of planning and say like, oh, these are the ones I know that exist and have weird boxes to them, and just write them down by year order or something like that. So as we open up each and every one of those, I can walk through and like check, check, check already, or whatever. It would be fun. I want to have the most fun with it if I ever got the chance to go for any of those kinds of tours, but that's yet to be seen. uh. Saw some sealed Bionicle watches for $40. Okay, nice. I think I've seen a couple of the Lego pens. I don't remember how much they were, but you know, sometimes they go up in value. You remember. Time to get the Bionicle mass pack boxes. Buddy, if you got $300 to throw, go for it. But even I am gonna say no thanks for now. It is fun to see. It is fun to look through them. I'm not saying I need to have all of them. That's not my goal as a collector, is to have one of everything or anything like that. If I did, I probably wouldn't have opened some of this stuff, or I wouldn't have got them in certain conditions, or whatever the case may be. I can be tangible with it. I can have fun with it, and sometimes that's all it really needs is to be seen, just to know it exists. For purposes of things like Bizarre Lego, sometimes it changes where it's like, okay, yeah, I do want the box with this because I'm going to take photos with it and use it in the book or whatever. Whatever the case may be. I don't know. I would love to see the UFO action pack. That's one I've never seen anybody have the box out for. I don't know if anybody owns it. I don't know if anybody sells it with the box. But the UFO action pack. 3 space sets from Insectoids and UFO, and includes a CD that I mentioned in the beginning of the video from outer space. I've never seen the box appear, but I've only seen like 1 or 2 pictures that float around the internet in databases and whatever, and I'm like, what's the rest of it look like? What's the inside of the box look like? Sometimes Lego unboxings are fascinating for me, depending on what the thing is. Gimme Bricks, welcome to the stream. Well, I've been going for an hour. An hour! I'm going to switch topics for a little bit of this and still be on the topic of boxes, but not about Lego. I've had video game boxes. I don't really keep all of them. There are plenty of old system video game system boxes. I tossed them. I didn't care for them as a kid. There are some of them that I just happen to have around. Like, I found my Xbox 360 arcade box. Why? I don't know. I didn't plan to keep it. There's a bunch of them like that. The N64 game boxes, I had those for a long time. Some of the Game Boy Advance boxes and the Game Boy Color boxes. I didn't keep them for collector's sake. I didn't keep them for resale sake. But I have used a bunch of them to sort of flip. I basically took all the N64 boxes that I used to have. I do have a photo or 2 of them on a shelf for a brief period of time. I took all those boxes. Some of the Pokemon games boxes, just the boxes themselves, any of the games themselves. And I think a copy of Mario Party 6 with the microphone, because the GameCube microphone came with it. Didn't have the box for it, of course. And that, all roughly $120 value trade, according to the other person, was traded to get the Futron monorail. And that was a couple of years ago. I'm still happy about that. Even if I don't have the box for the monorail set, it's fine. There are some parts that are missing to it. That's fine. They're common pieces from the ones I've discovered that are missing. There are some pieces that are broken. They're not rare. They're not exclusive to that set. All the ones that work for the train aspect of the set, perfectly fine. They just have a little bit of glue residue on them because originally the set was glued together. Not for store purposes, rather for independent use and just like, someone at home wanted to keep the set glued. So I've had to use some Goo Gone and other materials to try to scrub that stuff out and get rid of some debris. But the train works fine, and I'm happy for that. Everything else has taken a while for me to replicate or complete the set, at least parts wise, minifigure wise, and that's fine. I don't care if I don't have the original paper instructions for it. That's not a concern to me right now. But I have the set that can run, and I could customize it if I want to. That's fine. That's great. And I also got 2 of the build your own play mats as well out of that. It was a great trade. I'm very happy for that. I'm pretty sure I did a video for that on YouTube. What's your opinion? Nope. Kabaya sweet boxes are super cheap in Japan. Well, yeah, in Japan they would be. I think that's one. It's not. Oh, yeah. Video games. And Lego. And boxes. I mean, technically, I'd be happy enough having fun to build as just the cartridge. But it's even better that I have the cartridge, the case, and I don't have it right here. I think it's actually behind it. Yeah. Instruction manuals, catalogs. I'm glad all that stuff is here. And that was from Japan. And that was a once in... I don't want to say once in a lifetime, but it was a very rare occasion. I just happened to find it on eBay. I was searching for it. It turned up. There were only 2 copies listed. I bought one, and the other one vanished. So I don't know if it was the same listing twice or a sponsored listing or something like that. But I am happy to have that. Scratched a bit, but it still works. I don't know if there would have been any further packaging with that, if it would have come in some kind of cardboard case, because a lot of video games back then would have had a cardboard case over it. But considering the plastic around it, probably not. And it was 95, so it could go either way. But yeah, that's happened with some video games where I just happen to have the boxes for them, but don't necessarily collect them, don't keep them for any purpose. A lot of games I have nowadays are ones I don't need boxes for them. Old cartridges, I don't really care having the boxes for them. You know, any of the CD-based games, they already have a disc case to them, so that's fine. Doesn't really do much for me on the whole. Sad Lego doesn't put that effort anymore. Yeah, true. Advent calendars. I've only went back to them recently, keeping the boxes. There are some of them that I've thrown out. There are some of them, even the interiors I've thrown out. Sometimes the plastic cases are good for sorting. But I have went back for some of these recently. Mostly because, well, there's 1 or 2 of them here, and I think like a few more that are in the shed, in the storage shed. I just haven't opened yet. And I'm just kind of waiting to do a whole bunch of video with them and then just publish them around the appropriate time of year. 2 of these here and 1 in the shed, I went back to get the box. Practically sealed. I think 1 of them is opened. Yeah, 1 of these is actually opened. And that's for anniversary year, next year, to celebrate Maniac for Bricks' 10-year anniversary. I'm getting a lot more personal, even more than I normally do, when it comes to talking about Lego. So I wanted to try some of the original Lego Advent calendars that I grew up with. Like, I know I have the pieces, but they're scattered all over the place. And I want to try that experience again with some of those Advent calendars. I have the first one that I owned, the second one. I've looked into the 3rd or 4th. Because I wasn't getting them every single year. I got them like every few years apart. Something like that. I don't know. But that'll be fun for next year. So there are actually some things I have saved up. I haven't talked about on the channel yet because they're for next year's anniversary. Samson, welcome to the stream. I'm creating my own Lego vault. Very nice. Wish I had a box copy of Lego Island. So yeah. Then we talk about the CD games. So I have collected some of those boxes because, again, different editions, kind of interesting. Especially Lego Island. They've had multiple releases all over the world. And I only have a few of them right now. And there's even several like US releases of them. Xanthera on YouTube has, I think, the original It's either the first or second edition. I don't remember if mine is even first or second edition, but it's very close to the one of the original editions of the Lego Island game. Cheese Mania, as far as I know, didn't come in a box. I only got it as a CD as a kid from my dad when he was working at IBM, worked at Nabisco near us, but that one closed or became Mendelez or something else. But I don't remember getting it as a box. I only remember having the CD in a generic jewel case. What game was that? The one I was holding before? This one? This probably needs a video on its own. There are videos of the entire gameplay of this on YouTube, to be fair. But this is Lego Fun to Build, the first Lego video game ever, back in 1995. And this was exclusively for the Sega Pico, released in Japan. And I need to find someone who has played this thing before. Even if they live in the other side of the world, even if I have to get a translation or something to communicate with them, I need to find someone else who has played this and experienced this, because there's one feature of the game I can't understand, and I want to see if they know about it. They actually have a little digital building program into the game, and there does exist a printer for the video game system. It's used for other activity games like this, so does it work with this one? It seems like the kind of thing where it could, but I haven't found an option for it in the game itself. I haven't read the manual because it's in Japanese. I can't read that. I do have a friend who can translate, but only to some degree because there's different versions of the language. So, I I don't want to go out of my way to buy a printer for a video game system on the purpose of using it for one game. Seems like a lot of effort without doing proper research. I want to do more research before going into something like that. Video game printers are a weird thing on their own merit, but at least things like the Game Boy printer kind of makes sense with the Game Boy camera. You could buy those separately usually, and the printer paper is like receipt paper. It's just the heat up ink version, whatever the word is. Yeah, I don't know if I want to buy a pre-fun Pico printer explicitly for just this game, or if it works for any of the other ones. I do have other games for that system, because I got the system bundled with a few other games, and the games are really cheap over here, except for that one because it was exclusive there. I don't know. There are also some Lego set boxes I will say that I have that are kind of custom boxes. There's one I have here for Brick Fair. It's just one I went to in Virginia. It's a custom box for the Great Ball Contraption Kit. The workshop that they usually host at Brick Fairs. I have no reason to get rid of that box. I think it looks pretty good. It holds all the pieces in there fine. If I want to take the thing apart or want to use it for something else, why not? There's a couple other ones, I think, from Brick Fair particularly that I've had over time. Boxes, bags for custom sets. There's custom bags that I remember I got from Bricklover 18's Bricklink store. He made a couple of custom models. I reviewed a bunch of them on his channel. On my channel, I should say. I reviewed his models on my channel. There we go. There are some boxes for certain Lego books that I have, just because they had certain bundles of those books, and it doesn't take up more space than the books themselves. The books fit inside of them, so why not? I think I covered it. That's about all of it. I have one Lego Racer set here, Drum Racer set. I, again, just happen to have the box. Funny enough, when I got that on eBay, I didn't even know if I uploaded that video. Should probably do that. I know I recorded it. When I got that set on eBay, the box was just a bonus. It wasn't necessary. And shortly after I received it, I got a message from the eBay seller who said, hey, I have a couple extra pieces that are supposed to go to the set, even though I marked it incomplete. Would you like me to send those? I was like, sure. Later that week, I get a package in the mail. Two 2x2 dark gray bricks. If I knew that's what the pieces were, I mean, sure, it didn't cost me anything extra for it, but I feel bad that this person spent another couple bucks just for those two pieces to send in the mail. When it's like, I probably could have got them for my collection. It wasn't, I never complain about this. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's all I got to cover. I'm looking around. I was thinking there might have been another box peeking out that was like, pick me, pick me. He didn't talk about me yet. But I think for now, I pretty much covered them. All the ones I can think of. All the ones I definitely wanted to talk about. If we go into any other hobbies, it's a whole different story to some degree. Different reasons for it, different values for it. I already touched upon video games. I don't want to go into Nerf or any other hobbies like that at the moment. I've already done a little bit with the Polybags, but again, all right, we'll do a quick thing with the Polybags. So Polybags, it's a bag. The pieces are gonna go in a bag anyways. Might as well put them in the polybag that it came from. Well, you had to open the polybag. So what do? I put a Ziploc bag, fold up the polybag, or somehow scrunch it inside of it, and fit it in there. Again, does not take up more space than the polybag does already. So that's fine. If there are old sets that I no longer have the box or polybag to, or if I like to call them polyboxes, because they're like the 349, like really tiny cube like sets that they had back in the late 2000s. If it's sets like that, I don't have the box for them. I'm not going to be inclined to get the boxes, not for all of them. I use really tiny sandwich bags for them. They're not really made for sandwiches though. They're kind of like, they're almost like a trail mix snack bag thing. I don't even know what they're called, but I know them when I see them in the stores, or like a dollar store has like 50 of them for $1. It's like cool. They're like really tiny rectangular bags, but they're just enough size and just enough zip to them to fit a small 30-40 piece set, 50 piece set maybe. So they're really easy to pack away and still keep the original packaging with them, even though it's opened. I don't know if the value is still there on something that's, having the poly bag with the open set. I don't know if that works. I've never really picked up ones because of that case. Poly bags I usually get would be ones that are sealed because they're from the store. They're not like aftermarket or anything like that. I have sold some polybags sealed. Again, just had duplicates. Did not need them for anything. Collectible minifigure bags. I've thrown out a whole bunch of those. I haven't thrown out any of the video ones, the blind boxes yet. But I have also kept at least one of each series collectible minifigure bag because of the artwork, and again, doesn't take up much space. They're, I think, together in one Ziploc bag or something, in a box or something like that. Not sure. Got boxes for a few 9-volt train sets that I do have. But again, just because I got the box with it, just by chance, it was like, cool. It wasn't necessary, but it is nice. Unfortunately, the one that I have for Railway Express, it has the flap up kind of thing, and you have like a transparent layer in between, so you could see the pieces in the box proper, and it still has artwork around it or whatever. That screen, if you want to call it that, does not attach to the box anymore, but I still keep it with the box. So yeah, I didn't think I was going to be talking about boxes, Lego boxes, for an hour 20 minutes. But here we are. I knew I'd definitely be talking about them longer than most people would care for it, but I didn't know the exact timing. What was I going to say? There's another one I was thinking of. For old sets that I would go back to, I have found some, and it's really cool seeing them with the boxes. But there are some that I go either way as far as picking up. There was a World City set that I saw recently at Bucks County Brick Shop that was sealed with, had the box with it and everything. But even though I liked the set, I did not care for the box. So it wasn't going to do anything for me paying more money for a box that I wasn't going to use. I have found the same set for much less price because it was a used copy, already assembled. I think it has all the pieces there. I haven't bought it yet. And it doesn't have the box. So, in used condition, it's much less, like 3/4 less the price almost. Bionicle Generation 2 boxes. That's another one I wanted to bring up real quick. Since they're of that paper nature, or, thin cardboard nature, like the Spinjitzu ones I talked about, I basically do the same thing. I just flatten them. Sometimes I will try to keep the boxes together, but I know that they're not built to last, and it's rather just easier to flatten them, put all the pieces in a bag if I don't have the figure already assembled, and work with it that way. There are some Lego Bionicle figures that I have that I don't have canisters to, that I'd like to go and find them, but again, like we said before, it might take up more space than, just the parts. But if they feel right enough to me, I go for them. If it's like, oh, well, I have 4 out of 6 of them with the canisters, might as well get the other 2, and they're probably not that expensive. And if they work for display purposes, yeah, sure, maybe. Some canisters of Bionicle sets have multiple releases, where it's like you could have one figure, you can have one figure with a poster, you could have one figure with a poster and a CD-ROM, you could have one figure with a CD-ROM only. That's 4 editions of the box. I don't need all those. I'm okay with one of them. However, sometimes I'm interested in the ones that have a bonus piece to them. Like, oh, instead of this kind of mask, you have this kind, and it says it on the box. They actually change the artwork in order to do that. Not just a sticker, not just a little tiny, graphic on the box that wouldn't be missed. I have 1 or 2 like that. I've actually reviewed one like that. It was one of these kinds of sets. It said movie edition on it. It had it across the bottom here. It changed the artwork. It had it across the top here. It said limited edition or something, and then said along the side of what bonus stuff was included. Although calling it a bonus is kind of generous because they just replaced one piece with another, and then they added a new piece in there. So I guess, yeah, you are still getting one more thing, and the thing does have more value. But yeah, that's it. And it's funny because I've tried to look for that particular set with that bonus edition. Barely anyone is selling it, and it's $200 sealed on eBay. It's a supply and demand kind of thing. Nobody else has it up for sale, so I can mark it whatever price I want to. People definitely want to buy this. It's a collectible item, so it's going to be very valuable. Case in point. Let's see. I used to own the bundle of 3 Bionicle sets in one. They were 3 separate boxed Bionicle sets that had a big bundle set together and included extra instructions with them. That's cool. I have all those sets taken apart. I've wanted to rebuild them for a long time, but I have to search everywhere to find the parts because they're not all in the same place. And it takes a lot more pieces to build those than other sets. And I certainly don't have the box anymore. Would I get the box again someday? I don't think so. I still have the instructions, though, so I can build those combos if I wanted to. It basically gives you like 6 sets in one, I think. Something like that. 5? Because you got the 3 main sets. And then you got the bundle combo that's on the front of the box, so that's 4. There's at least another one you can build out of this set. 5, and I think of that another one that's 6. I have to look it up again. But again, not a concern of mine to get the whole box. I don't even remember if it had little boxes in between for those other sets or if they were just separate bags. Not a big deal for me, at least at this time. I guarantee I'm going to say a bunch of things in this video that's like, it's not important, that doesn't matter, and it's going to be at this time, and I'm going to regret it later because I'm going to say, I gotta get that. I don't know. But that's the thing, it can also change over time. There have been plenty of things that I've thrown out for boxes that I didn't care for. Maybe I do want those again, like the Soldier's Fort box. Um, it's a topic that I don't think is ever going to have one surefire way to do it. I don't think it's a topic that everybody is going to be on the same page about, even if there are other options. Everyone's going to have their own preference and opinion about it. And again, I welcome all of those because it tells a lot about the person, their value of Lego, their value of not just the Lego pieces, but the brand or what kind of person that they are if they're building, collecting, a bit of both. Like me, I'm stretching myself in all different directions all the time. Um, or even the experience of Lego that they have. Like, I have Lego advent calendars, puzzles, board games, weird mask bundles, you know, that kind of like I have a lot to work with because I've been around a lot of this. Other people, yeah, they might just have the standard sets from the stores, and that's fine. And they could still use those for what they need to. They can put them back in the boxes if they want to, take the whole thing apart, whatever. It's kind of like a puzzle, right? Because you're given the intent of building something with these pieces in a particular fashion, and then when you're done with it and you no longer need it to be together, you can put all those pieces back in the box. Ha! I love how that worked back around just by chance. But that's that box though. I needed that. I have a whole drawer of Snap next to me, and I wanted to at least get one of the boxes for later in the month for display. Not later this month. I mean next month, September. Um, that'll be a lot of fun. Oh, I didn't even bring this up. I'm sitting right next to me the whole time. Basically, I just haven't gone through these yet, but I have them. Digital blue Bionicle digital cameras. There's probably not much value in keeping, like if I open these up, I use the cameras, there's probably no value in keeping the packaging. Keeping them in package, however, yeah, of course they're probably going to have some value, sealed. I don't think I paid that much for them. Actually, I think these are pretty cheap when I found them, which was good. But they're also really cheap digital cameras, so there you go. It's about the product or it's about the collectability. I don't know. There's the Spybotics soda can camera. Happened to get that one with the box, but I'm kind of happy that I did because it's in unusual packaging for that line because it's an unusual product. Probably do a video on these. I don't really keep them sealed for any particular reason. There's plenty of sealed stuff that I have that is just like, I just haven't gotten to it yet. And even if I haven't gotten to it in years. I'm looking at a Knights Kingdom Adventure box, which I did review a while ago on the channel. The box has the book built into it. And the Brickmaster books do that. I want to say a couple other series of Lego books do that, where the box and the book are one and the same. They don't separate them. Sometimes they do. So I have the whole thing, where it really only just needs the room for the polybag that's in the adventure box. And maybe a little bit of story beyond that. A couple pages or whatever. So I'm not going to rip it apart just to keep that. But I also have to account for it when putting it on the Lego shelf. I really hope that's everything. Because I got to run. I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful day. I don't see anything else for the comments, so we're all caught up there. And have yourselves a wonderful Sunday. Thanks for enjoying and watching this stream. I'm, again, just going to keep working on videos and hopefully get them out as soon as I can. And it's something that I like. I will admit there are some videos that probably don't care if it doesn't get edited, like this stream, you know. Like, I definitely put visuals here of the other boxes I didn't talk about or didn't have on hand. I don't care. It's a live stream. It's fine. Some other videos, I don't know. I'll try to get back to the Brick Fair Virginia videos because I know people have been posting theirs from uh, over the past month, and I have not. And I don't know if it's going to affect anything if I post them now. Like I should have been posting them this whole time. I don't know. People want more Brick Fair Virginia coverage. I've still got it, and I'd still like to bring it. One of the things that's also been hard about it is that I would have made vlogs about it, but I don't know what to do with the vlog footage. I don't have enough of it to separate it into each day. I don't know if I should caption it all the way through those videos because some of it is hard to hear, like at various points. And I just feel like it would be nicer to hear it or read it. And some of it, I don't know. Just kind of happens. It's not like I have a lot of footage. I mean, I probably could just do like one about the whole thing, but it might be a long video. So I don't know. Maybe day 2, 3, or whatever, bundling them together. I'm still figuring it out. That's the thing. This thought process, this trying to make it a cohesive video or series of videos is why it hasn't been uploaded. Because I'm tossing back and forth on if it's one is a good idea, one is not. Whatever. I also have a another sealed. Go figure. Another Ninjago set. There's a lot of Ninjago going around. I've had Ninjago for a while. This one's been beat up though. Ninjago movie maker kit. You can tell it's very warped. Still sealed, but very, very damaged. Pretty much all the way around. I do intend to open this thing up and build it because it's a nice camera stand just for that purpose. And, yeah, I don't think it's the same as the Batman one and then in the Lego Movie 2 one. And, I don't know if I can review this one because I don't know if the Movie Maker app is still available on the store. I have to check about that too. It's got a book with it. Ooh. Unless it's in the instructions, that would make sense. Another sealed set. More in the backlog. Alright. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Tell Brickzar I sent you. Oh, it stopped scrolling the chat. That's why I didn't get to read anything else. Sheesh. Need to get the packaging for Good Guy. Oh, yeah. Is it just a bag? Had fun playing that in 2019. Yeah, I should have brought that in 2021. I might bring it again in New Jersey. You do know Japanese. Different versions of the language. I was told by somebody who's followed Japanese, who has understood the language, that there are some words that he could not translate. I don't know if it's just because it was I thought he said it was a different version or a different something to it. Maybe he just didn't know what the word meant. I don't know. Sorry, I'm catching up on this now. I want to make all the cars from Lego Races. That would be cool. Xanthera did that on his YouTube channel. All the boss cards. It was cool. People see a collection or a bunch of retail sets they got over at Walmart clearance while I'm over here buying 30-year-old sets. Nah, that's the ticket. Yeah, any of the recent sets, I don't think I have as like, oh, I gotta save it for 10 years down the road or whatever. Not money I can think of. I don't think I showed any in this video. I'm looking around at the boxes around me and not really. I did see someone had the Lego Masters 66666 sealed. They brought it to Brick Fair, Virginia because the Lego Masters contestants were there and basically had it autographed on, from several of them. So the purpose of that one in that case would be I keep a new box sealed, get it autographed because of the Lego Masters promotion, and it'll increase in value after that. Like a comic book, or like a baseball card, or like a lot of other industries. I can't remember, like I can only think of that happening sometimes with Lego sets that people will buy a brand new one and get it autographed. Mostly by the set designer. Because Lego Contestants had nothing to do with the classic sets. it's advertising the show. If people want it from the show, it's yeah. There you go. I have actually seen one wholesome version of that on Instagram, where somebody bought that set, they brought it to Brick Fair, they got a couple signatures on it, and they gave it to their daughter. Oops. They gave it to their daughter and even got photographs of the reaction of it, which was actually really cute. That this was somebody who really enjoyed the show and got that personal connection with the contestants. That's a much better way to go about it. All right, I think we're all caught up, and talk to y'all later.